Warning: the Chaotic Culture Podcast is a program for mature audiences. The language and content presented in this podcast is of a mature nature that some audiences may not find suitable. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Embrace the culture, blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off for O, like the cover Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Cat the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Cat the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and black culture is elevated and embraced. This podcast will deep dive into modern black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts from finances, music, black business highlights, home ownership, HBCUs, sports, black nerdom, anime, wrestling. If it encompasses black culture, we're going to cover it. Live from the 757, I am the host and the creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This is your boy, Ked, a.k.a. Ked the Pro, a.k.a. the Calculator Millennial, the Cutlass Diamond, a.k.a. don't be pushing all my buttons in my Cutlass unless you cut, a.k.a. your favorite toxic adjacent king, Chaotic Kid, Ked the Poet, Ked the Closer, all of that good stuff. The 843 is me, but VA is where I stay. Always chaotic, never toxic most days. Back again, once again, with your favorite black culture highlights and black culture shenanigans. If you joined us for the last episode, of course, we did a music roundtable of Erykah Badu's discography. I hope that you got a chance to listen to it and enjoy it. It was really good episode in my opinion. I think we all came in with different knowledge and aspects of how Erykah Badu and her albums made us feel. And of course we ranked them. And as you can tell, none of her albums got a C or below. Everything was either B, A, or S. So definitely shout out to Miss Badu. She makes wonderful music. Definitely check that episode out if you have not. I know it's been a while, guys. It's been almost 2 weeks since you've heard from us. So this week, coming up, we have a special guest joining us. The rest of the crew couldn't be here, but they may pop in. Who knows? If they do, great. If they don't, it is what it is. You know, we're all adults. We got things going on. But right now, of course, joining me today is a special guest and probably the biggest guest that I've had on this podcast. So with that in mind, I definitely want her to go ahead and introduce herself. For those who don't know, Lauryn, a.k.a. Toasty Marshmellow. Please give yourself an introduction, ma'am.
What's up, everybody? My name is Lauryn, aka Toasty Marshmellow. I'm an anime cover singer, actor, and specifically more so voice actor in terms of like the anime community, living here in New York City. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, ma'am. I definitely appreciate you coming through to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. With that, well, how we usually start these podcasts, of course, is we get a little bit of a mental health check. You know, we want to be sure that everybody's at least doing good mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and of course, physically. So, you know, I'm last, but I'll go first out of respect for the guests, just to let everybody know how we do things. So, in terms of mental health, my mental health has actually been great these last few days. I've gotten a chance to really just get home and relax. Work has been more or less like, and I've learned to, like, I guess, find my inner peace and calm down, because I know sometimes, you know, it's a 9 to 5. Like, who isn't annoyed at times with their job? But overall, I think it's been a pretty exciting weekend. Of course, the Super Bowl is happening in a few hours. By the time this episode comes out, it'll have already passed and gone. So whoever wins, you know, we'll see. I got 2 black quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl, so I don't care who wins this game. But with that in mind, I think that these last couple of days have been really good, though I know that with my job and whatnot, it's been kind of a struggle. But we move, we manage, we push on to the next day. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. That's all I can really say. I am in the middle of again looking for a therapist this time through my job, so it'll be a little easier, and hopefully they accept my insurance. So it is what it is. Toasty, how has your mental health been, ma'am?
My mental health has been a lot better than it was. I've been
That's good
reading
to
a
hear.
lot. I've been like staying off social media for the most part, unless it's a post. So I've been reading a lot of books on like theory and like psychology and things like that, and just like doing like guided meditation and like my yoga, Pilates, whatever. I've been in my like Caucasian suburban mom era, and it's honestly so healthy. Like I see why they're so happy all the time.
Ah, yeah, that would make sense.
So I highly recommend if you ever need any book recommendations or meditations, let me know.
Got you. So also for those who don't know, as she said before, Toasty is a singer. She can sing. I've heard it personally. Trust me. She's got them. She's got them pipes. So, I will get into of course, the questions later on. But I at least want people to know that when it comes to chaotic culture, we love music because I'm a musician. Sappy is a musician. Johnny's a musician. All of us are musicians because Law and Chanasa are all either singers or we play an instrument. So having another musician on here, just shows how much we appreciate and love music, which actually goes into our first topic of discussion, which is our Grammy reactions. So I'm not sure if you saw the Grammys, Toasty, but I had to sit through it and watch for this particular purpose. Did you have any thoughts?
I mean, obviously Beyonce was snubbed. That's everyone's thing. But I honestly I don't really watch award shows because a lot of it's just politics and there's so much that goes behind it. It's like
Yes.
you never really rely that it's going to be just or fair. So I usually just hear about what happened afterwards, but definitely Beyonce was snubbed. Um, yeah, that's basically all I know about the winners.
Hey, you are 100% spot on. So again, I had to watch just so I can kind of give my full reaction to it. The only thing that I didn't watch was the last performance, the God did performance with DJ Khaled and all them. I just at that point I was sick because after waiting for the entire time to hear album of the year and the fact that they gave it to Harry Styles instead of Beyonce,
Wow.
that's when I was like, all right, I'm done. I cut it off at that point. But from my perspective, all of the Grammy performances themselves, that's really what I was watching for. Uh, Subpar, except for like maybe two. Uh, and of course, people can think what they want to think about the Sam Smith performance and whatnot, and him dressing up as a devil. I'll let y'all have that discourse. Me personally, while watching it, it wasn't so much that it made me uncomfortable. It was just not good, in my opinion. That was just me. I'm here listening to the vocals, and I'm like, is there something wrong with the mics, or is there something wrong with the earpieces? Because what's going on? And then the energy during the performance was like just very meh. I'm like, okay, nobody's really like putting their all into these performances at all. And granted, I know it's Sam Smith. He's not gonna give you like the same performance as somebody like a Beyonce, but
Mhm.
I'm just not feeling it right now.
Yeah,
So
I just feel like people only perform as much as they're getting paid for. I don't know how much they get paid for those performances, but yeah, I always just watch the performances afterwards because
mhm.
yeah, it's whatever to me.
Hey, I'm the same way, and it's like, man, maybe I just should like watch it afterwards because clearly I'm not an award show person myself, though I kind of have to be because of the podcast.
Yeah.
But there's only like a few award shows that I will watch. One will be the Grammys, the Oscars, because yes, I'm like Toasty. I am still an actor. I just have been on a bit of a more of a longer hiatus than normal, but I'm gonna get back to that. And the BET Awards just so I can see the shenanigans.
True shenanigans.
Yeah, so but that's just me personally, but still, in most cases for most awards, like the right people for the most part won these awards. It's like it wasn't too different except for that album of the year award. And I'm like, okay, I listen to Harry Styles album. It's not something that I talk about, but I did listen to Harry's House, and compared to Renaissance, no. No, not at
Yeah,
all.
I
But
don't know that one song on his album, the one that everybody was playing this summer, that one song that he had that really popped off. But the rest of his album I didn't even listen to.
yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. And a lot of people, no offense to Harry Styles, but a lot of people were referring to him as a mediocre white man. And I mean, his performance also wasn't good at the Grammys either. But as Toasty said, it really just depends on how much these people were getting paid. And I don't know. It just Harry Styles, other than like Watermelon Sugar and maybe the song that you talked about that came out this summer, like
As it was, as it was. Is that the other
yeah,
song?
yeah, as it was. See,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot the name of the song.
Watermelon
Um,
Sugar, as it was. That was the only two songs I knew.
yeah, yeah. So, with that, it was just like, come on, man. I listened, and I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan, and yet I listened to that album at least 3 times.
Yeah,
That so
it's that good. Like it just is. Like it's it's an iconic album. I don't know how it didn't win, but yeah.
I don't know. To this day, I don't know. I don't know, and it's not my job to figure that out. I did hear in one of the Variety magazines that they did interview some of the voters, and one of the voters' reasons was that they didn't vote for Beyonce because she wins too much, and I thought that's not objective at all.
At all.
That yeah. I thought that this voting process was more so to be objected to the music that you hear and the impact that it made. And yeah, it could go a little bit of what you like can go into that, but
I would also like
why?
to see the demographic of the voters because
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce's album was very specific in terms of demographic who would actually relate to it.
Yes.
Queer, black, and if the people who vote for the Grammys are like mainly white, which I'm assuming they are, then that
Mm-hmm.
would make sense.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was the direction that they were going for because anybody that's in the Recording Academy, I'm pretty sure it's either older and mostly white,
Yeah,
cisgendered people. So I mean, that's just my assumption. I don't know who these voters are, and I really don't care to know based on how they vote. But
yeah.
either way, yeah, y'all, I know that people have been talking about it for weeks, but I just wanted to put in my 2 cents and how I felt about it. Of course, the right person for my top award, which of course is best rap album. Of course, we knew Kendrick was gonna win. Like, what did y'all expect?
Of course.
Yes, yes. So shout out to Kendrick winning best rap album as well as 2 other Grammys as well. I knew best melodic rap was going to Future because I mean, look, that's Wait for You with Tim's and Drake, which is actually Tim's song, but even still, I knew that I was gonna get that. I'm like, yo, you really can't deny that song. But everything else, Kendrick, as far as rap category.
Yeah.
And the R&B category, other than Beyonce, I'm trying to remember who the awards were won by. I think for R&B album, one of those went to Black Radio 3 with Robert Glasper. Now, if y'all have not listened to that album, please do yourself a favor and do that. Like Robert Glasper is such an amazing pianist and jazz artist, but he also does R&B, and the way that he crafted Black Radio 3 was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. So I know that people that were wondering about the whole Chris Brown situation. And there was a lot of people saying, y'all don't pretend to know Robert Glasper now just because you hear his name at the Grammys and Chris Brown said this. It was like, it's not so much that the people don't know who Robert Glasper is. It's just the fact that Chris Brown should know who Robert Glasper is. But I'm not going to get into that discourse. In any case, before we actually get on to the interview, I just wanted to ask, because I know Toasty said that she's kind of been off of social media for a little bit. Have you been noticing these posts about these big red boots that's been going on?
Yes, and I actually saw, the one guy who like styles outfits based on like different characters and like pop culture. Love him. He's like him and this old white man are the only two people I've seen actually style them, and it kind of look good. But for the most part, I'm like, these Astro Boy boots, like
The Astro Boy 12s and 13s.
like unless you're cosplaying as Astro Boy, if I see you walking down the street in those, I'm roasting you. Also, are those actually functional? Like I'm just thinking about like trying to take the subway, trying to like go down to the subway wearing those big old boots. You would fall down the steps. Like I don't think there really is a function for shoes like that. They're cool. They're cool looking in a way, but also they're just like you could 3D print those for real.
You could. You really could. As you said, I've seen one older white gentleman wear those, and I thought that they were cool. And surprisingly, Janelle Monáe wear them, and I'm like, okay, you know what? They don't look that bad on her, but then again, Janelle Monáe doesn't really look that bad
That
in anything.
anything. Yeah. Janelle,
So
I mean, if it matches your vibe, I feel like you could rock it, but that's very few people who I feel like match that energy.
nah, that's real. That's real. If and as you said, if you're not cosplaying as Astro Boy, or I'll give you another one, Boots, or even I guess maybe Mega Man NT Warrior, like there's really no reason for y'all to be going out here wearing those big ass red boots. Like I'm sorry, I can't do it. If I try wearing
I'm
those,
all
I
for
know I'm falling.
artistic expression, so if you want to do it, if you want to do it, do it.
If yeah, as she said, artistic expression. I know for a fact if I tried to wear them, yeah, I'm busting my ass because ain't no way I'm one wearing those and not falling. But then on top of that, boy, look, the people in my fraternity would roast me for days
How
if
much
they
are
saw
those?
me.
You know how much they are?
I honestly don't. That might be something that I can look up real quick.
Yeah, I feel like if they're really overpriced, don't get them.
Uh,
Boycott them. Like you could straight up 3D print those shoes.
yeah, the funny they pop up on Google immediately. Uh, so these big red boots fashion is entering its silly era. Okay,
Silly.
CNN. Silly being the really objective word here. Well, there's a pair on Etsy that's like $80.95, and then there's also a pair on Etsy that's $279.99. I don't know
The
who's
design.
actually making these boots. Like, yeah, who designed them? Uh, Maybe if I actually
They
pull up
come
an
out with a blue
article.
pair. If they come out with a blue or pink pair, I might consider.
I still won't wear them, but I mean, if as you said, if it fits your vibe, it fits your vibe.
For the meme.
Yeah. Let's see. CNN style plugged in. Many the big red boot unveiled by provocative New York-based art collective MSCHF, the same group responsible for Lil Nas X's Satan sneakers and these eye-watering, expensive Birkenstocks. The giant rubber boots are goofy, impossibly round, and suspiciously similar to those worn by Japanese manga character Astro Boy. Cartoon boots for a cool 3D world, read the MSCHF press release. If you kick someone in these boots, they go boing. Wow. Wow. Okay.
That's funny.
I've read enough. Okay. All right. All right. And then finally, of course, we want to let everybody know by the time that this episode drops, it'll actually be after Valentine's Day. So I do hope that you have enjoyed your Valentine's Day. Me personally, because I am single and don't have a girlfriend right now, I'm kind of on that salty side. But for those who who have the love of their life, or just even taking somebody out on a date, I do hope that you've had a wonderful time and that you had a wonderful Valentine's Day. Which actually leads me to the question: you doing anything for Valentine's Day, Toasty?
Yeah, you know me and Bae, we about to we probably gonna just stay inside because in New York it's kind of hard to get a reservation
Mm-hmm.
on Valentine's Day, and we didn't really plan ahead. And we also just went to a really nice dinner like last week. We ate like escargot, we had snails for the first time. I was like, ooh. They actually buzz, on the
Oh, word.
they actually buzz. But yeah, we're probably just gonna stay inside and like watch rom-coms and like exchange like our gifts and cards and stuff.
Hey, watching rom-coms is lit.
Yeah,
As far as the escort go, I'm hmm.
try it.
I
Try
guess
it.
I'm willing to try anything once.
It tastes like
As long it tastes like what?
seafood. Have you ever had like mussels?
Here's the thing. You don't know this about me, Lauren, but I am unfortunately allergic to seafood. I've had it before. I've tasted it before. I love seafood. I love it. And then as I got older, I became allergic to it. So
Well, then I mean, escargot tastes the same. So if you're allergic, then maybe try some escargot to fill the void.
okay, well, as long as it doesn't give the same allergic reaction as seafood
Yeah.
does, then yeah, we good. Cause man, I miss the taste of mussels and clams and oh my gosh, I haven't had seafood properly since I was 10. It
Oh
really
no.
sucks.
Well,
Yeah, and
escargot tastes similar, like basically the same as clams, but or not clams, mussels, but it's
mhm.
softer. So I actually kind of like it more in a way. But
Okay, okay, I will definitely take your word for it, man. I have to take you up on that offer because I haven't had like mussels, clams, oysters. I haven't had those in so long, and it's just like, dang, yo. So if snails fill that void, then okay, we'll take a look into trying escargot, even though. I mean, I'm not the person who's hesitant to try food. I've never
Yeah,
been hesitant like to try anything different as long as it tastes good, then I'm gonna eat it. That's pretty much my MO on that. So,
exactly.
all right. Well, Toasty, I'm gonna go ahead and like start asking you questions. Some of that you've probably heard before because I know that you've been throughout different programs and different podcasts and course. But I definitely wanted to ask you some questions on my own volition and go from there, and we'll see how the interview turns up. I also have some rapid fire questions that we got to ask at the very end just to see, get a quick reaction from you. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started. The first thing that I wanted to ask you for not only myself, but also for those who might be, tuning in for the first time or who have never actually gotten a chance to talk to you or have an interview with you, what got you started in doing voiceover and voice actor work?
So I've always been an actor my entire life. So I've been acting since I was like 7. And so I was doing like youth theater, community theater, and then I just did that all the way through. I still do that. I'm in New York. I live in New York now, and I audition for Broadway shows all the time. And like I've been in like shows regionally, yada yada yada. But voiceover, I recently got more interested in after meeting Zena Robinson for the first time at Anime NYC. And I had a small interest in it, but then he was like, "Oh wait, no, I think you'd be good at this," and like introduced me to his agent. And then I was like, "All right, let me actually like take it seriously." So this year I've been taking it way more seriously, and I bought like all the equipment. I like turned my closet over here into a walk-in studio.
Ooh.
So yeah, so that's what you see in my newer TikToks and videos is like my studio. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have my agency here in New York, and they always send me voiceover auditions. And now that I have the setup for it, it's like way better. And I haven't announced it yet, but I actually did book my first like show. But I
Let's fucking go. Hey, let's get it. Let's get it.
podcast exclusive. I did book my first show. It's going to be on a streaming service, so everybody will be able to watch it. And I'm really excited for that. It's 6 episodes, like a character, 2 voices actually. So that will be out hopefully in the next year. I don't know when the release date is, but I'm recording it this next week. So that's why I'm mad that I'm sick right now, because I'm like, okay, I got to get over this quick because I got to record. But I'm recording from my home studio, which is so nice. I can just be at home and record and like work.
Hey man, that's what's up. That is what's up. As far as that cold, old theater trick. I'm not sure if you know about this, but they say green tea and garlic. As much as
Yeah.
I really hate smelling like garlic for the next like few days, like that's always been the trick for us. Whenever time we started coming down with cold or sore throats, like, oh, we you some garlic, and it worked, but it was one of those things. It was like, man, like I love
Gross.
garlic cooked, but trying to eat raw garlic is so difficult. But
Well, I make like little shots of it. So I this morning I made an apple, ginger, and garlic shot, and I'll put like them all in a blender and then strain out the bits and then just take it like a shot.
I gotta try that.
It's gross, but like it works.
Well, thank you for warning me about that, but I'll still try it just because I want to make sure that whenever I actually get started for real that I'm good to go. Hopefully I
Yeah,
don't get sick. Look, I've already had RSV at the end of last year and COVID in the summer of last year, so I'm not trying to get sick again.
yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. As far as acting, like, what is the best thing about acting in your opinion, and what's the worst thing?
Ooh, so the best thing about acting, in my opinion, is being able to pretend to be somebody else for a day or
Hmm.
few days, or if you're in a long running show, like months. The worst thing, at least in my experience as a stage actor, is having to work 7 days a week when you're in a show. Like,
Mm,
it's not fun. And you don't get weekends because you have shows on weekends and you have 2 show days and stuff like that. So that's also why I'm getting more into voice acting, because I don't want to work like that my entire life. Voice acting and TV film, that's where I want to be.
Hey, look, I hear you 100%. I will say for me, just to kind of give a comparison, the worst thing about acting for me, especially like on stage, hurry up and wait. That is something that it's just like, okay, you got to be ready, but then you might be waiting for something. It might be
Forever.
something wrong. Yeah, it might be something with the set. It might be something with props. It might be something that the actors are doing on stage. It's just like, okay, when's my part coming? When's my part coming up? Oh, wait. It's at this thing at Hampton University where I, of course, graduated from. When we were part of the Hampton Players, and Dr. Otto used to always have this piercing voice. Anytime something went wrong, hold, please. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. And I used to just sit there for like hours, like,
For
we gonna
forever.
get to the next thing or what?
And I feel like
So,
sometimes they just take longer than they need to. And then I really get
mhm.
annoyed 'cause I'm like, now you wasted my time. And especially in university, because then it's like you at play practice and then you also got homework. Like there was
Yes.
no time in college. I don't know how I did that. But
I had to literally pick and choose which like plays I was going to be a part of because it was like if I wasn't doing band, I was doing my schoolwork, and then I was doing other meetings and other clubs and whatnot. So it was like, okay, I have to pick my semester to do theater because if
yeah.
I try to do this both semesters, I don't know how I'm gonna get through. So,
We
you
were
know,
we were required to audition every semester for all the shows that our program was doing.
mhm.
And sometimes it would be like we'd be cast in the ensemble, sitting in the back when we had so much that semester, but we couldn't do anything about it, and we would just have to suffer through it and be like,
Listen, this is why I'm glad I was a theater minor when I got to college because I was like, man, look, some of the work that these theater majors do, I y'all got it, man. Y'all 100% got it because there were certain things that and certain assignments that they had to do and certain roles that they had to play that I was just like, man, look, I'm gonna just keep it as my minor and then we'll figure out the rest later.
yeah,
So
that was fine.
yeah. So I definitely wanted to bring this up because for those who don't know, y'all know that I love my anime openings and some endings, of course, but I love my openings. Like that is one thing that I will die on. Like if I don't hear nothing else, I'm going to listen to an anime opening at least once or twice a day. And a few times a week. So I just wanted to ask, like, tell us more about your voice work for these anime openings and what made you want to start doing them.
So when I was a kid, like a lot of the reason of why I loved anime so much was the music and the art. And so I would just memorize all the openings like naturally. Like I would know all the Naruto openings and I would know all the Inuyasha like, openings and endings and stuff when they come, and Bleach especially. I knew every single opening and ending just from watching them repeatedly on TV because you couldn't skip. So back then it was easier to just like kind of like memorize it naturally. Now it's harder
Hmm.
'cause you can really just skip the openings. Um, but I would say that I've always wanted to actually sing an anime opening, and hopefully I'm on my way to that. Right now, I'm focused on working with more like game composers, but some of them also work in anime. So I'm trying to get my foot in the door. But obviously, it's a lot of networking, and like, sometimes you have to actually be Japanese to sing the songs, but we're
Hmm.
going to break down that barrier. And I have
Yes.
a trip to Japan. I have a trip to Japan in a month, and I'm really trying to just like set up all the little connects and like go to the Sony Music Japan office, introduce myself, and like so we're trying, but it's hard. But that's my biggest dream. That's my biggest dream besides like voiceover and acting in a TV show is singing an anime opening.
Hey, man, shout out to you. Shout out to you for being able to do this, like sing those songs as a kid. Like, I do have to ask, how long did it like? Well, you said you've been doing this as a kid, so I guess the question's kind of mute. But it's like, was it hard to try and like emulate the language?
No, like it always just came naturally to me. I think that's something that also helps me with voiceover because it's very easy for me to imitate voices. Like I'll
Hmm.
imitate my friends, do impressions of my friends. Um, and so yeah, no, it was never that hard, but also like I did at one point when I was a kid try to like learn Japanese. So I studied for a bit, and now I'm actually back in Japanese classes preparing for my trip. But my Japanese teacher was like, "Oh, your pronunciation is so good. Like why is your pronunciation so good?" And they're like, "Wait, why do you know a lot of words already?" And I'm like, "No reason. I don't want to. I don't want to be like because I'm a raging weeb. Like I don't want to say that.
Hey, look, I feel it. I feel it. And I've also after watching like a few of your videos, if I remember correctly, you said that you were also like, were you learning Mandarin or was it just something that you were picking up on?
I took Mandarin as like my language in high school and
Hmm.
college. So I was taking French in middle school, hated it. I something about romance languages doesn't work for me, which is crazy because it's like supposedly easier. But before I was a performer, I was like a visual artist. So I think just like the characters and stuff just makes sense in my brain. So I did Chinese for 4 years in high school, and then I did 2 years in college. And I did go to China in high school with my orchestra at the time, way back in the day. So yeah, I knew Mandarin somewhat, but now I'm like, I don't remember anything besides how to bargain. Like I can negotiate on the street to not
Hey,
get.
look, the fact that you even can emulate a language and learn a language on top of that. I have a friend. Shout out to Shelby. I don't know if you follow Simply Janine, but if you go to her Twitter, she is a content creator, but she's also a travel creator. And one of the
That's
things
what
that
I'm trying to do. Wait, what's her
yeah,
user?
Simply Janine. That's what her Twitter is, I believe, and then it's simply dot Janine on Instagram. But shout out to Shelby.
Oh
Definitely. We
yeah,
actually
I
had a
follow her. We follow each other.
okay. Yeah, got you. Yeah, definitely pay attention to her. She actually went to school for, Chinese.
Yeah.
So and she got a chance to spend some time abroad in China as well.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she's definitely working on getting back to, doing the language purposely because I mean she's back in the States now, so she's not always around, folk who know the language, but she's getting her practice in. So when she goes back, or when she gets around that atmosphere, she can really go in. But yeah, I definitely recommend communicating with her. She'll get you right.
I'm gonna DM her because I actually just started a travel and lifestyle account because of my trip to Japan. So my trip is actually sponsored. I reached out to a travel company and was like, "Yo, you trying to take me to Japan and I'll make a couple videos?" And they were like, "Bet." So I'm going with this company called EF Ultimate Tour, which basically they focus on trips for people who are outside of college. It's like mid 20s to like mid 30s. But yeah, I'm going with them. So now I'm like trying to be in my travel influencer bag so I can just travel the world, like, and learn languages
Hey.
while I go. Like learning language is another passion of mine. I think it's super fun. I think if you travel somewhere, you should try to learn at least a little bit of the language, you know?
Absolutely, man. Look, you crossing off stuff on my bucket list because I'm just like, dang, I want to go to Japan so badly. I was we tried to make it a goal of ours to go through the Olympics, but then COVID happened and then funds weren't right. So we were just like, maybe another time. So
Yeah.
but the goal is to eventually get to
Well,
Tokyo, if
I'm a
nothing else.
host. I'm like one of my goals is to host some trips. So I'm probably gonna
Hmm.
reach out to more companies and be like, because they like let influencers host trips and then like people can sign up. So I'll definitely let y'all know, and we can be in Japan
Informed.
together. Yeah, I will definitely. We could be.
It's
That'd be
like,
so lit. I had the idea for like an anime trip. So
mhm.
like seeing all the different like historical sites, but that are in anime. So being like, oh, this is the place that was in Your Name. Oh, this is the place that was in Neon Genesis Evangelion, and like going to all those
Mm,
places instead of just like a generic like Japan tour or something that's anime focused.
yes. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Yeah, definitely keep us informed on that. We are, or at least keep me informed if nobody else.
I will.
Where okay, in terms of opening, what was your favorite anime opening to cover?
Ooh, my favorite anime opening to cover so far. Pooh, that's hard. I mean, in terms of making it, my very first cover ever was Yuta from Naruto,
Mhm.
and that opening is just so nostalgic for me. It's one of my favorite openings ever. I made it for the like 20th anniversary of Naruto or something. And so making that was really that one has a lot of sentimental value to me. But then I think my favorite cover that I've done so far is the Sailor Moon cover that I did like forever ago. That was in my first year of content creating.
Hmm.
But I think that's the best. I think I sound the best on that one, and I really like the way the video came out. And then the one I'm really excited about is Samurai Champloo, which I'm working on right now.
Oh, you making a cover for Samurai Chef? You about to do Battle Cry? What?
No,
Or are you doing the ending?
the ending, Shiki no Uta.
Okay. I was about to say, like, wait a minute, you about to sit here and rap? Come on, Toasty, what?
I do want to do a rap opening. The rap opening I want to do though is from Bleach. What was it? How's it go? Isa don't rap so de appreciation to kimachi.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking
I
about.
want to cover that one, but I have to learn all the words. It's a lot.
Hey, look, I understand. Look, and as a personal favor for me, if you ever cover Velonica by Aqua Times, which is Bleach opening number 9, that's my favorite one.
That's on my list. That's on my
Yeah,
list.
okay, yeah, because that is I've said this 100,000 times at this point, but I'm like, there's something about Ichigo walking in the desert in Hueco Mundo, and all the visuals of the captains, like just in that one video, and the song itself fits so perfectly that it stuck with me from the time I first saw it to now. So,
Yes.
yeah, definitely. I'm surprised you didn't say Bluebird from Naruto.
Bluebird. Okay, the reason the reason I don't like Bluebird anymore is because in my first year of content creating, Bluebird was the song for me that if I needed to go viral, that was what I sang. And so I sang Bluebird and did various variations of Bluebird. I kid you not, at least 10 to 15 times. And so I'm just sick. I'm Bluebirded out. And it's I always sing it at my live events, and it's just
I understand.
It's a lot.
I get it. Look, Bluebird was actually my favorite Naruto opening, but I did get annoyed with it at some point. So it's just like, okay. So I didn't listen to Bluebird for years, and I'm just now going back to it myself. Like, okay, I can listen to it now, but I used to play it like all the time, like throughout college, and when I to the point I got sick of it. So yeah, I get it.
Bluebird was my favorite back in the day. I would say from Shippuden, my favorite is like Silhouette. Like I really like Silhouette, or the one that Jiraiya's opening.
I know which one. I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, look, I get it. So, but I guess I had asked about Bluebird because I know that has a lot of views, especially on YouTube. So I just was wondering, because isn't that your favorite? But I did want to say thank you for doing that cover of Kickback.
Thank you for watching it.
Hey, yes, ma'am. Like Chainsaw Man has my heart right now. I actually went ahead and just decided, you know what, I'm a reader. So I was like reading it and watching it at the same time. And now that I'm almost caught up, I'm chapter 98, which is right when Chainsaw Man took his break. So I'm at that chapter now. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm almost caught up with it. And
I stopped right at the break, but I will say personally, I think I prefer the manga because I don't know, something about the anime, like it's not hitting like I thought it would hit, but the manga really hits to me.
The manga definitely hits. I will say that the anime, but maybe because I read the manga, there was something about the anime, not the animation itself. I love the animation. I think it's just something about maybe the pacing a little bit that was kind of off for me. But spoiler alert, of course, for those who have not watched the anime or read the manga for some strange reason. But I think what they really did well was when Himeno died. That's when I'm like, okay, you hitting there. Now you hitting. Okay, all right, I see what you did, Mappa.
Yeah.
So they made that really more sentimental, because in the manga I was like kind of reading through. I'm like, okay, well, she's dead now, and I kind of didn't care. But the anime actually made me care about it. Like, damn, okay, well, shit. So yeah, definitely shout out to you for doing that cover. That is one of my favorite, if not the favorite, opening from the fall season. Yes, ma'am. Just kind of changing gears a little bit. So I wanted to ask you more about your work with RDC World 1 and Anime House. Of course, I know that you've done the opening and the ending for them now. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about your experience with that.
It was great. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Just Mark DM'd me, and I think they probably saw me on TikTok. It was kind of around the time when I was like blowing up on TikTok during 2020, and they just asked if I would want to work on this song. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not know them. I I literally don't. I don't really watch content like I don't watch anime content creators. I do now, but like back then, especially, I didn't. So I just remember being like, I was talking to my brothers about. I was like, yeah, these guys reached out and they started freaking out, and I was like, what? Uh, but it was a great experience. Like I was actually recording. I actually recorded both songs from my ex's house. In when I was like seeing this TikTok, don't want to talk about it. Seeing this
Oh,
TikToker in Florida, and I was recording on my voiceover mic, just like sitting on his bed. So the recording, I was like undercover, and I was just sitting there singing the song, and then they mixed it. And Af is just a musical genius to me. He does not get enough credit. I think the writing of the song is amazing. I think the beat's incredible. He's just a highly skilled musician and rapper, and I hope we get to see more of his work showcased in the group. But it was really cool, and then getting to perform it at DreamCon was awesome, and getting to meet everybody was super super fun. A little bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie, just because like it's my first time in that space. I have deodorant that's like poking out of my arm. It was like my first time in that space and like meeting everyone, so it was a little intimidating and kind of scary. And also I was new to content creation, and I didn't really know how like people interacted, and like, you know, if it mattered how many followers you had and all that kind of thing. But it was a very welcoming space, and it was really dope. And I have not been to DreamCon again since, but I'm hoping to go this year. If I'm not doing anything, or if I would love to perform something or collaborate with them this year, but we'll see.
let's see. You went ahead and answered my question already because I was like, I missed you at DreamCon last year, so are you gonna go this year? But okay, that answered that question.
I was acting last year. I was in a show in Chicago all summer, so I couldn't.
Okay, okay, okay.
And if I'm working again this summer, then I'm not going to be able to make it either. So hopefully the scheduling will line up. But I mean, you know, that's life. And DreamCon will always be running, always be around. So if I miss this year, I'll hopefully be there for the next one.
Hey, it is what it is. Look, DreamCon has become so successful to the
Yeah.
point where it's moved to Austin now in a bigger space.
Yeah.
So, I will say that the work that you've produced for them, that song, the both the beginning and ending, I've run back a couple of times, just on YouTube in general. I'm like, okay, I want to listen to this, and okay, like, and again, I've always known that you've always had a great voice, but it's just something about actually hearing it in real time. You're just like, damn, okay, yeah, she really got pipes, yo. Like,
Thank you.
okay, yes,
I hope
ma'am,
they'll
yes, ma'am.
pick another song that because they ended up using the same songs for this anime house. I'm like, y'all just need to make a new song with me, okay? Like, at this
Yes,
point, well, let's go ahead and make another song. All right, let's go do it. You know, I can do the quick turnaround. Like, you know, I'll get it to you in 24 hours.
send her the paperwork.
Send me the paperwork. But my price is increased though. So
Hey, look, they got it. They can run it. I already know. You already know they're good for it. But
yeah.
all right, we're well. More questions in regards to that. Like, what was your favorite part about recording it?
Well, I recorded it from like I said, my ex's bedroom under the covers. I didn't go into a studio. I recorded one of the songs in his car. It was really bad timing in terms of when I had to record it and when they reached out, because I'd already planned to go like visit him or whatever. But I also didn't have a studio at home, so it wouldn't have made much of a difference. I still would have been under a blanket. Now I have a studio and I can like produce professional recordings, which is really nice. And so I'm excited for the music work that I'm doing this year. I met a couple people at MagFest, some gaming composers who I'm collaborating with, people who work for, you know, different games like Street Fighter and like things like that. So I'm working on singing for stuff like that now, and those will be hopefully a lot higher quality, even though I think the quality came out great. And I thank goodness for whoever their engineer is. You really ate that.
Yeah, definitely shout out to them, and of course shout out to you. What would you consider like recording in the car and under the blanket like the most challenging part in recording those songs?
Well, I would say for Crash was very easy to sing. Power to me sat in a kind of like a weird it's at a weird place in my voice, and I didn't really know like the vibe to go with for Power. I still think Power sounds a little off to me personally, but I'm a perfectionist. I would love to re-record that song. Um, but yeah, I would say Power was harder to sing. Crash was very easy. It was just like, I kind of got the vibe, the feel. Power was more like, I don't, I don't know what the sound. I couldn't really choose a sound for it. Yeah.
I understand. In regards to your interactions with RDC World One, of course, you already said that they need to go ahead and just make another song and have you singing and whatnot. Would you actually like to be included in the skit, perhaps, on top of that, or?
House. I mean, yeah, that would be hilarious. I personally think that the anime girl should have a little my have you seen my you've seen my anime girlhood dude skits or whatever. I
Yeah,
think that character should have a little moment in one of them, which would be hilarious. I'm actually
that
turning that
would.
into an animated series right now. I'm working on that. I've got an animator. I'm about to do a Kickstarter. Um so yeah, I would be down to be in one of them. I just don't live anywhere near Texas. So
Well, yeah, I was gonna say you all the way in New York and they are in Austin, so that's quite the jump. They would literally have to fly you out.
yeah, so I don't know if it would really necessarily be like worth it, but I would do it. I would do it, but you know.
Okay, okay. Hey, that sounds dope. RDC Worldwide. I don't know if you listen to this, but if you do, if you ever get the chance to listen to it, like listen to her. Get her back. Get her back.
I'm
Get her
saying.
get her on the skit. Um, well, we already talked about like the covers that you've done and whatnot. Are there any more that you have planned that you are willing to share? And if not, that's okay.
I've been doing a lot more K-pop covers or trying to plan some. So I
Mm-hmm.
recorded some New Jeans. I don't know if you know who New Jeans is, but they just released this song OMG or Oh My God that's like really popping. It's like oh my God, yes I know I was really. It's really popular right now on TikTok and everything. And I'm doing an English version of that. I already recorded another song called Ditto by them. So I'm working on my translating like writing skills because I think writing is something I've always been passionate about too, and like making more English lyrics to songs that actually flow and like
Mm-hmm.
match the syllables of the original language is really cool to me. So it's like tricking your ear in a way, like where you hear the English but you think you're hearing the Korean or the Japanese. That's really fun. So I'm
So
doing
you're
more
trying to
English.
got it. So you're trying to be like a Studio Yoraki.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. For those who don't know what that is, yeah, definitely look up Studio Yoraki. They do English covers. They haven't done one in a long time, but they have some of your favorite anime openings up there, and they do them in English. And they were able to actually translate it to a way that we can understand it, make it rhyme, and then still fit what the original songs were talking about. So definitely shout out to them. Uh, was there an opening other than Bluebird that you were, of course, not fond of recording? Or just don't like anymore?
I would say the hardest opening that I've had to record was probably the Demon Slayer opening. It's really hard. That's a hard song. It's
You
hard.
talk about Gorange?
Yeah, Gurenge.
Ooh.
That is a really hard song to sing in terms of breath support, in terms of pacing, in terms of high notes, in terms of placement. It is a really hard song. So that one took me like 2 weeks to record. Yeah, that's the only one that I've like really struggled with though.
Lisa is that voice. So more
Well,
power to you to be able to even do it.
you won't see me singing that live. I'll tell you that. You're not gonna get me singing that live. You won't.
I get it. I understand because now that I'm actually like hearing the lyrics in my head and I'm like, yo, that will take a lot of breath work and a lot of vocal control. Like I don't know how she did that song, but yeah, you make a point.
In my video for it, you can literally see me like checking my placement and like making sure my jaw is relaxed enough to like get through it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really hard song to sing, but that was one of the songs for Sony Music Japan, so I had to do it, and it was awesome, and I'm glad I pushed myself.
Shout out to you for even getting through that. I'm not the best singer in the world, but I know, I've been in chorus, I've been in the teen choir with my church before. I know what it takes to, actually have that kind of vocal control, breath control, and as you said, like just even mouth control to be able to sing a difficult song, and that is really interesting to know that. So I'm definitely proud of you for being able to push through that, even despite the difficulty of the song. Um, yes, ma'am. Uh, let's change gears one more time here. Uh, tell us a little more about your streaming journey.
Oh, my streaming journey. So I started streaming in 2020. I bought a $500 pre-built from iBuyPower. Do not recommend. You will be replacing all the parts in your computer, and then with a $2,500 custom build at that point. So yeah, I started streaming when I lived still in Cleveland, Ohio during the pandemic. And at first it was just a way to like connect with my TikTok community, and now it's kind of become a hub for the people that really, really, really support my content, and just the people that I feel like are my true like I don't want to call them fans, but like my true supporters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I always go there to connect with them and just hang out. We have a pretty like small community. Like I don't I my biggest streams are my Weeb Mingle streams, where it was just like my e-dating stream, even though I have a boyfriend. It's not really e-dating, it's just like
Funny.
and so those usually average about like 80 to 100 people, but we're not partnered, and like I kind of like it that way. Like I don't really want it to be like a huge thing. I want to be able to read my chat and like actually get to know what's going on in people's lives. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm currently on kind of a hiatus. I have not streamed in the past 2 months. I just streamed last week, and I kind of gave them an update. I was like, hey, I'm really focusing on my acting career right now, and I will try to do one stream a week. That's all I can promise you right now. And they were like, cool, we will be there for those streams. I'm also trying to stream a little bit more on TikTok, because I feel like there's a cooler future there in terms of streaming that is kind of untapped right now. So I have a stream going on with them on Friday. But yeah, I think streaming is great. I think it's really hard. I think streaming is underestimated when you first start, and like the commitment to it is crazy. So I don't recommend streaming personally as a
Mm-hmm.
content creator. I think it gives you a kind of obligation that to show up for people like live, and that is a different obligation than just posting a video. So if you can find success and consistency in it, then power to you. But I don't think it's the best way to start your content journey. I'd say make videos first and then stream, so you already have the audience.
Okay. Okay. Well, that kind of answered the next question here, because I was going to ask, was there any advice for the people who want to start streaming? Like, did you have any advice for them? And you literally just gave it. So let me change up the question. Do you have any advice for people who want to actually start doing voiceover and voice actor work, i.e., myself?
Well, first of all, you're gonna need a mic. So start
Check.
off. Yeah, start off with yeah. You already got a mic. But for voiceover, you will want specific types of mic. So like
Mm-hmm.
condenser mic. If you don't have a condenser mic, definitely get a condenser mic. For example, my Shure mic, which is my podcast mic, which I'm not hooked into because I put it in my closet and I haven't set it up yet. Those are actually not as ideal for voiceover, whereas like a different type of a condenser mic is. So you could get the AT2020. That's a really popular mic. I use the Apogee mic. Oh yeah, that's a good like starter VO mic.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Apogee mic Plus, which was actually the voice that Crunchyroll was using during the pandemic. They would ship it out to their actors to record remotely, and it's not that expensive. I think my mic was like 250, 300.
It's not
It's
bad.
a little more expensive for a starter mic, but if you can spend that starting out, I highly recommend it. Is a USB mic, which people tend to not recommend, but I like it because it plugs straight into my MacBook, and it plugs straight into my iPhone for when I'm making content. So I really, really like it. And then you don't also have to buy an interface, which is more money. So I personally don't think, I think if you want to go like the more smart route, get the Apogee Mic Plus. Other than that, definitely get on VO Twitter. That's where I find most of my coachings. I have an actor Twitter. It's Lauryn AVO, at Lauryn AVO. That is my voice acting Twitter, and that is where I find classes. That's where I network with other, directors and actors. and it's kind of just a place I can run away from my larger Twitter audience because I only have 600 followers on there, so it's really nice. But yeah, you got to take class, you got to have the equipment, and you got to really be committed to it. You should be reading up everything online before asking people for advice. Like there's sometimes people in my DMs are like, how do I get into voice acting? I'm like, well, before you ask me that, I want you to Google everything and like do all the work to really know that you're committed to it, because there's so many resources online that are readily available for free. Like there's podcasts. There's a podcast on YouTube I really like called Tip of the Tongue podcast. It's a YouTube podcast all about voice acting, breaks down everything you need to know. There's websites, and then there's auditions on voice actor Twitter. So there you go. That's all you need.
Well, thank you for that advice, because look, between me and you, and I guess for the rest of the audience now, one of the reasons why I started the podcast was to kind of get, voice acting work done. So yeah, hey, you look, just sharing one of the secrets, not the main reason, but of course that is one of the behind the scenes reasons for everybody listening. So, definitely thank you for that. I definitely believe that I followed your voice acting page on there, so that way I could pay attention to like what auditions you were doing and get those connects.
Classes too. Like right now I'm taking a class with Kiba Walker, and his class is pretty affordable. I think it's $200, but it's for the whole month. So it's 4 sessions for $200, and those are like 3-hour sessions. So that's actually really good for like most classes, because I've gone to other classes where it's $400 for a 2-hour class. So
yeah, $200 for the whole month. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, obviously, as you said, depending on your schedule, you said that you may or may not attend DreamCon. We'll just see what happens. But were there any other cons that you had intend to go to this year?
Yes, so I really want to go back to Anime NYC. Love Anime NYC. They're getting better and better every year, and I just think they are really on the come up. I've always wanted to go to Anime Expo, and when I was at MacFest, I met a couple of smaller cons who I still need to reach out to, because I was interested in like doing some performances and stuff. Maybe like BlurredCon. I don't know. Like there's a lot of cons that I want to hit up this year, but my thing about going to cons is I only go if I'm a guest.
Hey, look, I get it. Especially where the position that you are now.
Like I want to be a guest or press. Like going to cons as a guest or press is way better than just going as a normal attendee, because you get access to all the people you want to see. You get invited to all the cool after parties. It's not the same when you just are like a regular attendee. So I personally don't like going to cons unless I'm one of those. So if I do go to DreamCon, I'll probably only go if I'm doing something. I'm not just going to go for the programming. But
I hear you.
If you don't want a con to go to just for programming, MacFest, that was the first time I went this year. The best con I've ever gone to, because they have 24-hour programming and a 24-hour arcade and like indie game. Like, yeah, it's incredible. It's slept on. I'm going to be pushing the MagFest agenda because there need to be more Black people there. And there's also like a giant stadium for performances. So if you like music, it's literally MagFest Music and Gaming Festival. You have to check it out. Highly, 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 highly recommend.
Oh, you ain't say nothing but a word.
Yeah, like put that on your list for next year. Best con I've gone to, and I went as an attendee. Okay, that is a con I think is worth every penny for an attendee to go to. I think you really get the best bang for your buck, and they know what they're doing. It's organized. Like I went to jam sessions. I was singing with live musicians. Like, oh, it was so fun. Highly recommend.
Word. Wait, was this in? Which one did you go to? Because was this one in the National Harbor in DC?
Yes, that's the one.
How did I miss that? I'm only 3 hours away from DC. Oh my
gosh, you have to go. You have to go. You have to go next year. You have to go get an Airbnb.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. If you do go to BlurredCon, please let me know, because again, that is one that I do actually plan on attending. My best friend hit me up and said she wanted to go because it'll be her first con, and I said, oh, you know what, sure, why not? It's only 3 hours from where I'm at, so definitely.
It's a little close to DreamCon, so I'm probably gonna pick like dates wise. It's kind of close close-ish to DreamCon. So if I'm going to one, I'll probably won't go to the other. So we'll just see. We'll see. We'll see who
That
hits
makes sense.
whoever hits me up first. That's where I'll be. That's where I'll be.
I love the attitude. I love the attitude. My final question before we get into some rapid fire, I just wanted to know, like, what are some upcoming events that you are going to be hosting soon, or are there any upcoming events that you're hosting soon?
Yeah, so last month I hosted a talent show that was really dope, but I am securing a different venue for it, only because the venue that I usually host at doesn't really have the best sound system for a talent event. So the next event will be at this other place called OS, which has a stage, sound system, live streaming capabilities. So I'm going to be trying to live stream that event, as well as just having like an actual stage, actual DJ or whatever. And it'll be smaller attendance though. Because of that, it's a smaller venue. So that will be coming up in April. It's not going to be a talent show. It's going to be a magical girl night. So it's going to be J-pop idols, K-pop dance groups, anime cover singers, anybody who's like femme identifying. That's going to be in April. It's going to be around cherry blossom season. Haven't announced it yet. And then next month, I'll probably do another event at Brookland. I don't know if it'll be Weed Mingle or another event. I co-host with If the Shoe Fits, and then my friend Angela at Angeles. So I'll probably hit them up soon and be like, yo, what you trying to do in March? But my trip is in March, so it has to be the beginning of March. I think those are the only two events I'm hosting coming up. Sometimes people will reach out for me to host their stuff, so I could be doing more, but I don't know yet.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, you've answered all the questions that I have for you today, except for these rapid fire questions. So before we get into that, of course, it's really like the first thing that can pop into your brain. You don't have a set time to answer these, but it's to make you think on your feet here. So just all right. So ramen or pho?
Ramen.
Ramen or lo mein?
Ramen.
Subs or dubs?
Dubs.
All right.
Subs. Dubs.
Yeah, I got you. Favorite singer?
Her.
Favorite rapper?
Me. No, I'm playing. Favorite rapper? I'm not gonna lie, I don't really listen to a lot of rap music anymore. I'm gonna say Lauryn Hill.
Okay, hey, that's fair. That is very fair. Favorite pop artist?
These are so hard. Fujikase, Japanese
Okay.
J-pop.
Okay, that actually falls into my next question. K-pop or J-pop?
K-pop.
Okay. It looked like he was like, no, I don't want to choose, but
Hard.
it happens. I'm gonna make you think a little bit. Top 5 anime openings of all time.
Top 5 anime openings of all time. Yu Yu Hakusho at number 1. We got Dragon Soul. The rest are not in order. Yu Yu Hakusho is number 1 to me. The rest, Dragon Soul from Dragon Ball Z. And then I think Silhouette from Naruto. This opening from Kino's Journey 2003, one of my favorite anime of all time. This is so hard. Literally all the Bleach openings.
That's fair. That's fair.
So hard. Sorry. And then Inuyasha endings. That's not opening, but
Yeah, it's not, but okay. Dream character to voice if you have one.
Ooh, dream character. Honestly, Nemona from Pokemon for the newer Pokemon. I did the voiceover on Twitter if anybody didn't see, but I would love. I would just love to voice act in the new Pokemon. That right there is like a goal of mine, like a short-term goal.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I said that one of my dreams was to do voiceover work for Digimon, so that's kind of my thing. Like, so
Digimon, they need to bring it back. If they bring it back, but
yeah, look, when Digimon Adventure 2020 came out, for those who haven't seen, that's the reboot of the original Digimon. Like, I watched the entire season, and it has its hits and misses, but that was the kid in me. Like, I was a Digimon and Pokemon guy. Like I loved both. So I was just sitting here like, oh my gosh, I'm a kid again. I'm 7 years old, just watching it for the first time again. It was an experience. They've got Digimon Ghost Game that I think is still going on right now, but I haven't paid much
Oh,
attention to it. But
I
I'll
didn't know
probably get back into it and watch it. Maybe that might be my comfort anime of this year.
that.
But I couldn't get past episode 4. I was just like, I don't know if I really want to be into this. I guess I was in the newest Digimon adventure before nostalgia
The
purposes, because
nostalgia.
it's like, yeah, you get to see the 8 again, but in a sort of a different story.
Mhm.
So it was good to experience that. But those are really all the questions that I had for you, Toasty. So once again, thank you for coming onto this platform and just sharing your time with me, and just being able to sit down and chat. Like, this has been a really riveting experience, and I do hope that we can have you back on here again sometime in the future.
Absolutely. Listen, after I start booking more voiceover work, y'all can come talk to me about that. Once
Hey, I'm with it. I am with it. Shoot, I'm about to be following in your footsteps soon. I'm like,
Oh,
man, I
please,
need
I'm
to.
trying to see it. Let me know.
Yeah,
Like,
yes, ma'am. All right. So, while I got you here, I did want to ask if there were any black businesses or black content creator highlights that you had, or even if you just want to shout yourself out, that you wanted to just shout out real quick.
so my cousin has a black-owned lifestyle brand that I've kind of been plugging these last few weeks called Ja Hoodie. I have a really nice hoodie from them. I love it. It's really, really nice. So that's JAHURI, and I think you can find it on Google pretty easily. But shouting out to them, and then I'm also doing a voiceover like Black History Month series. So I am a little bit behind, but I have a bunch of up and coming Black comic book artists that I'm going to be promoting this month and voicing over their comic strips. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be posting those on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, shout out to the Black ladies in this community. It's hard out here. I know how these men like to gatekeep low key, So
Hmm.
shout out to y'all for just being here. And I really want to start getting some more community events together for women and just like networking events so that we can build off of what we already have. Um, yeah, and shout out to y'all for doing this awesome podcast. I love to see it.
Appreciate you, and thank you for that. Thank you for that. One thing that we didn't get to say or talk about on this pod, of course, is she does have a little bit of a gospel connect. You are the niece of Darwin Hobbs.
I am.
Okay. So I know a lot of people don't know who that is, but look, if you've ever heard the song "He's Able" by Darwin Hobbs and Dietrich Hatton, that was one of my favorite songs as going into college, because that song actually helped me get through a lot. So
Yeah, my uncle
um
singing. I heard him sing live once, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like you really can. You're anointed like that."
yes. He has a very anointed voice. I also have the little drummer boy on my Christmas playlist, and his is
Mhm.
one of the best versions. So
Well, I'm
definitely
glad you said that. That's so
I
nice.
hey, appreciate that. Appreciate that. But yes, I just wanted to point that out, guys. That she is the niece of Darwin Hobbs, for my gospel fans out there. Speaking of which, our next music roundtable that's going to be live on the podcast, not on Twitter Spaces or anything, but live on the podcast, is actually a music roundtable discussing the discography of the who we call the game changer of gospel, i.e., Kirk Franklin. So if anybody is a Kirk Franklin fan and wants to join us, definitely tune in, or you can even be a guest on this pod. We're going through all of his discography. That includes, uh, from the beginning with Kirk Franklin and the Family, all the way to Maverick City Music. So, if you haven't paid any attention to his albums, now's the chance. I am currently on Hero. I was able to speed through like most of his albums, and I got all the way to Hero so fast. Um, I don't know. His music is really easy to listen to. So definitely pay attention to that. We'll probably do that sometime in closer to Easter. I think is when we'll all be finished. So definitely tune into that. But in the meantime, we are also going to try and do a Twitter Spaces before the end of February, ladies and gentlemen. So um I don't usually do Twitter Spaces or not, but I definitely want to get in contact and get in connect with my Twitter Spaces audience and with the Twitter audience and everybody in the anime community in Twitter and whatnot, as well as those who are into music. We are going to be doing the what we call the tournament for the I don't want to say the top 32 because it might not be 32, but we're doing top male R&B groups. Currently on the page right now, we're doing most underrated. So yeah, definitely pay attention to that. We're gonna do the top R&B groups, and we're actually gonna have a tournament to find out who is the best male R&B group of the '90s and the 2000s. We got to do both years because yeah, um, I have a personal favorite that I want to win, but I ain't gonna say it out loud. So we'll see where that goes. But right now, I actually have a final four, which will probably be over by the time this episode drops. But as far as underrated R&B groups, if you've been paying attention on the tournament, of course, right now the final four include Christian, Playa, rest in peace to Static Major for that, Old School, and Brother. So these are for some obscure, some not so obscure groups, but they are in the final four. So we're getting ready to see who is the best underrated male R&B group out of that tournament. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and do the rundown, and we are going to sign off because, again, it is Super Bowl Sunday, and I know we both have things to do. So, for those who have not listened to this podcast before, the rundown is pretty much a shout out to all of the podcasts, content creators, Black artists, and Black businesses who have either been a part of this podcast or have, of course, shouted us out or, of course, support us outside this podcast platform. So, usually my team and my co-host handle the rundown and I carry the end, but in this case I'm going to go ahead and just do it all myself. So just give me a sec while I get through this. As far as podcast shout outs, of course, shout out to the gang, Show Go High. We have an episode dropping this Friday on Twitter Spaces. Definitely check us out at 8 p.m. Shout out to Inside the Mind of a Blurred. All of us, the gang's all here. We got a few episodes coming this week as well as next week. Shout out to Mike Check, Waifu. Of course, I am a Patreon subscriber. Please be sure that you subscribe to them. Shout out Polo and Tell, Worst Generation Pod, and Blanime Pod, and of course the Anime After Dark community. Definitely shout out to y'all. They, I believe, are going on a hiatus this week just to get a little bit of a break because everybody's doing different things. But they are usually the weekly anime space cast that is hosted every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time and 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely check them out if you haven't. Shout out to the Truth and Transparency podcast with Brother X, the Culture Scientist, and Mr. Smith. The Session with Jay and Trey. Brutal Honesty with Kay Renee, and please be sure that you check out her novellas under the pen name Sedona Rose, which are now available on Amazon Kindle. It's So Real with Raquel and Onaji, and definitely shout out to Raquel. She's also pregnant right now, so definitely shout out to y'all. I can't wait for your little bundle of joy to be born. Dad Needs to Talk with Rob, the father of Vash, Analytical, where shit gets critical, Huey TC podcast, Geek Set podcast, Anime Junkies, 3 Weaves in a podcast, and of course, for the entire anime podcast section, blackanimepodcast.com or the Black Anime Podcast Network. Definitely shout out to Ash across the water for putting that whole list together. You can go to blackanimepodcast.com and check out your favorite Black anime podcast. For Black content creators, of course, we have Black Anime with Aaron, HBCU Anime with Evan, Sundari with Eric, Cerberus Entertainment, Tatted Poodle, The Geechee Gamer, Icarus Metro Comics with Calvin, Studio Maho with Pat and Yin, Soul, aka Humble Southern Soul Brother, Hub Taku, definitely shout out to Shelby, aka Simply Janine and Rose Less Traveled, Black Lotus Dragon with Strange Keith, and of course, we now have to add Toasty Marshmellow to that list. If y'all are watching this, she's silly, yo. She's really silly. Hey, so for the Black artists, we also want to shout out NASA. If you haven't checked out our EP, please be sure that you do so. My boy Scoozy, Jack Union, Phil.me, Ellis Quinn, RJ Stackhouse, who also produced the old theme song. My boy Quarter, who produced our current theme song. Tyrone Leak Jr., who rapped on the current theme song, is also one of my brothers. So definitely shout out to Tyrone Leak Jr. Miss Ari Lachelle, Zach Hines, Miss Elena, and Zaynab. Please be sure that you check out those Black artists, whether it be on your favorite digital streaming platform or on YouTube. Be sure that you listen to their music. And for our Black business shout outs, we have Already Paid by Dre, Fresh Nerds, Righteous Minds by Timo, KS's Brand by Christina, Cream Cosmetics by Naima, Mind Over Money by Tremaine, Studio Maho, again, by Pat and Yin, Miss Daphne Benford Smith, who is also with Studio Maho and has her own law firm, Queen PLLC, Concept Moon, She Designs 2 with Aaron, Black Magic, aka Lit Wands with Lone T, H4 Creative with Zenobia, Real Estate Stone by Meredith, Soul by Belle by Mariah, and of course Coasters Bar and Grill, which is in the Hampton Roads area in Buckrow Beach in Hampton, Virginia. As you can tell, a lot of these are Black women, so y'all already know how we feel about our Black women. We support them. We will always stand behind them. And don't come on this podcast thinking that you're going to talk down on a black woman, because you will not, and you will get kicked immediately. So just know that when it comes to our black women, she trying to fight. She already ready. Lauryn with the shit like Toasty ready. She ready to scrap. Like, yeah, see, she got the right idea. With that, guys, thank you for tuning into another episode. Please be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Khaotic Culture Podcast on your favorite digital streaming platform. Be sure that you subscribe to the Patreon for early access to the podcast and bonus episodes of the podcast. You can subscribe at any of the 4 levels listed. We appreciate your support no matter what. Definitely go to patreon.com/Khaotic Culture Pod. You can follow Khaotic Culture Podcast on Facebook at the name Khaotic Culture Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Khaotic Culture Pod, and follow us on Twitter at Khaotic_culture. You can follow me, Ked the Pro, that's K3D the Pro, on all social media. You can follow Miss Nasa on all social media at _call me Nasa. You can follow Miss Sappy on all social media at Scraps14. You can follow Johnny on all social media at Lee Trey, and you, of course, you can check him out on Twitch at Lee Trey1. And of course, Law is taking a social media break, so whenever he returns, he will give you his info as well. With that, again, thank you, Toasty, for doing this interview with us, and with me personally. I definitely appreciate you being able to come in, and I definitely hope to have you again on this platform again. I can't thank you enough.
Anytime, just let me know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You already know. This has been another edition of the Khaotic Culture Podcast. Until next time, folks, remember, embrace the culture. Chaos rules. Be blessed. Be safe. God is love. Deuces.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. 'Cause everybody needs